Bang, bang, bang.
Bubup.
Bubup. OT in the house.
How you doing, man?
Reason you're here, besides your skills, as a writer, but the reason you here is because I saw a video of you, and I loved it. I loved the lyrics, even though I'm not a rap fan, but I became one because your rap helped me understand there is much more to rap besides what people think: violence, killing, shooting, guns. He wrote a piece. He sent it to us. The piece, the video, had about 12,000 Ks, give or take. Within a few hours, our audience in Yonkers voice pumped it up to 35K, right now 32K, over 30,000. Mm-hmm. And one thing about that video, I must tell you, is it did not only change my perspective, it changed the perspective for lots of people, because they realized that there is much more to rap than just violence.
Absolutely.
You use your art for whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
If you paint, you can paint wars and bombs, or you can. I'm on a video now, ma'am. So I can videotape paint bombs, or I can tape flowers. You use your art for whatever way, or in whatever way
to express yourself.
So tell us a little bit about what is rap to you.
Well, rap to me is music, it's rhythm, it's a bounce, it's a feeling. It's when I started writing rhymes, I wasn't trying to make records. It was just like my therapist. The paper and the pad was like my therapist. What I saw, what I went through, what I wish was going on, what was going on, it all just came out rhythmically. I was always, I grew up in the church. Shout out to my mom.
Good.
I grew up in the church, so I played the drums for the church about 10 years old. So I was always fascinated by rhythm, like beats and growing up in Brooklyn, hip hop was all around us. So I kind of blended that, and whenever I felt something, it came out rhythmically. Like I just would beat. Sometimes I beat on the tables, or everything was rhythm. So when I started seeing what was going on, and I would write about it. Some people write poetry, it's the same thing, or just write in a journal, and there's no rhythm to it at all, but it's just expressing yourself and, saying what you want to say. It's not for any reason. I just, so that's really where it started from, way back in the 80s.
So art is nothing but a form of expression. Some people might express it this way, others might express it that way, but it's an internal expression. Mm-hmm. It can be by words.
It's a form of expression.
It could be by writing, it could be sculpture, it could be any way. It's just a form of expression.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Now, how powerful do you think rap is? Because look, I have to tell you, I feel that music is a powerful tool.
It is.
Okay? I notice sometimes I'm driving a car, slowly, boom, 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 cruising, 20 miles an hour, and if a music that I like comes up, and I can feel it, me moving, I can feel me going faster, that speed that the music come together, how powerful do you think is music in connection with humans?
Music has always been, it's almost like magic, man. It's like, sometimes you find yourself where you can't help it, you just, and it's the beat, it's the drum, it's the beat, and as far as singers, it's their tone and the melody and the energy. It's just music. If you allow it, music can embrace you. Music can incite you to do great things. It can
bad things too, man.
Exactly, it can incite you to cater to your more negative instincts, or it could just soothe you. Or it's like they say, music soothes the savage beast. We all hear that growing up, but it's true. I'm not an actual beast per se, but in the beast in you, it can soothe it or it can bring it out. It's just music is powerful, man, and hip hop is music.
So music is magic. It can make you be mellow and good, and can make you be violent and dramatic and a monster. Okay, So how do we manage this? That's the secret. You know, you see these guys listen to some type of rap or heavy metal, for that matter, whatever, okay? And they want to go out there and do something bad, okay? So how do we control that? If music has such a power and we want to stay positive, what message do you have for those artists that are writing songs and lyrics that can actually make the youth do bad things?
Okay, I look at it like this. Music, you shouldn't blame an artist for a decision that a listener makes. I'm not going to put that on the artist. But I do understand the responsibility and the power that an artist has. It's almost like a parent or a senior member of the community that has influence over the people that's watching them. So things that they do, they shouldn't do in front of impressionable people because they might mimic it. So in music, it's a similar concept with music. If you know that there's a lot of impressionable people listening to your music, and so with that knowledge, you should kind of honor that responsibility and not try to push people to do things that is gonna end badly for them. But I get that sometimes the music is interpreted negatively when you're just expressing what you see. I mean, some people are just expressing the things that go on around them. Like I said, music is an expression. You shouldn't have to compartmentalize your expression. It's what you feel is what you feel. If you see people, fighting or, shooting or whatever, and that's what you see and you write about it, that shouldn't make a person that listens to it, I'm gonna go rob somebody, I'm gonna go shoot somebody. I might see it, but if it's not something that I do, I could talk about it, but I might also say that that's not me.
You know what? I agree with you. I have seen pictures, I have seen videos, I have seen a lot of stuff about the Second World War, Civil War, dead people here, dead people there. That does not make you go around and start another war.
Right.
Okay. So why should the lyrics of a rap makes me go there and start shooting people? And I understand completely that sometimes those lyrics, even though they might seem to be violent, they might seem to talk about things that maybe some of us don't want to deal with it, even though they're there, you just chose not to deal with it. I think that a lot of the rap songs are written by black people, and they're written in a way because there is a lot of things that the black man experiences that the white man doesn't. Okay, so what you write is based on what in your experience.
Right.
You cannot write about roses if you never experienced
living
roses.
among weeds.
Okay, exactly.
Right.
You cannot talk about the mansion in Hollywood or Scarsdale, how nice it is.
Because then you lose your authenticity.
Yeah, if you always lived in a hood. So you gotta write about your experience. How is it to be in those shoes? I cannot write about you being in your shoes. You're writing about me, you be in your shoes. I understand that. But
I feel maybe the responsibility as far as growing up in an area where things, negative things happen, bad things happen. I mean, bad things happen everywhere, but in the ghetto, quote unquote, you see a lot. But I feel like if the glamorization of it is where is a problem for me. I feel like too many rappers are talking about the drug selling and the girls and sleeping around and they just make that look like that's the thing to do. That's the way to be, where it happens, but there's almost always consequences to that. There's almost always a downside to that. Like growing up in Brooklyn and Brownsville, I was surrounded by all of it. Drug dealers, shooters, everything. And to this day, decades later, if I really search back, nobody was successful off of it. There was nobody that had this big success story that was selling drugs in the 80s and now they parlayed that into a big business and now they're successful. I don't have any stories like that, So it seems like if we really tell the truth, where all of this stuff is gonna lead you a place where you don't want to end up, but we kind of leave that out. I mean, for the most part, some people do talk about getting locked up and getting hurt in the game, but for the most part, these kids, they look at these guys in these flashy cars and all these girls, and they feel like, oh well, they was talking about selling drugs, and look at them now. So maybe this is my way. But I feel like if they really talk about the other side of it, there's another side of that coin that gets kind of buried. Like, I know a lot of people that's in jail and they never coming home. I know a lot of people that didn't make it to 25. Thank God I made it to 50. There's a lot of people that's, you know, didn't make it to 21. And we tend to kind of not push that to the youth, because I think that would make you scared. It's almost like letting a kid touch a hot stove and then he won't touch it anymore.
That's right.
You know, so we gotta let them know that I'm talking about it can be this, but the stove is hot, and you know you may get burned. You're not even you're more than likely to get burned.
So guys, this is real talk. Yonkers' voice is raw. What you hear here was not scripted. We didn't talk about this before we got together. All we had is, let's get together and let's talk about you, the man. Let's talk about you, the artist. And this conversation is organic. It's happening, okay? It's happening as we go. Nothing was prescripted, so we're gonna talk about this line. It's all natural. Am I lying?
Absolutely not.
Yonkers' voice is your voice, not my voice. I just happened to have an idea to create this page. But this page is a platform where anyone can come if you have something of essence to talk about. He has a great message to put out. He's putting it out. So kids out there and even young adults, crime is not the way to go. Yes, it might get you that Beamer maybe in the first 6 months because you made a good money, but you will not be enjoying that Beamer for too long.
You know what I do? I actually have a song that's called Cuffed, where I talk about, you know, the path from the streets to the cell and how to avoid it. And I compare a lot of what we do to like rolling dice. I know a lot of people who know what I'm talking about. Playing CeeLo, sometimes you got a hot hand. You roll a 6, and the 6 is winner takes all. You roll a 6, you win everything in the bank. And then you feeling hot, so you put it all back. And then you roll again. You roll a 6. So what's gonna happen? You feel like you hot, you're gonna keep putting it all back because you be like, oh, this is the way to get a lot of money. And then you roll in 6 and you roll, but the thing is, you're putting it all back. So the law of averages is the law of averages. It doesn't matter how hot your hand is. Eventually, you're gonna roll an ace, which is where you lose everything. So the thing is, sometimes the worst thing that can happen to a person is to get away with something, because that's gonna make them feel like they're gonna always get away with it. It's gonna make them continue. Very few gamblers win and be like, all right, I won and I'm leaving. No, they're gonna be like, oh, I'm feeling lucky. And
I'm gonna win some more.
And they're gonna keep going and they're gonna keep going. So it only takes one ace. It only takes one bad hand. So the law of averages kicks in. No matter how hot you are, you can roll 100 6s and one ace. What do you end up with? Nothing.
So in other words, you might make 5 good deals selling drugs or whatever. That one bullet that might come your ways might end it all. If you're not dead, you might be paralyzed, your life is gone.
Or locked up forever.
That's the ace. So yes, you made good. You have the Beamer. But
and then when you throw that ace,
it's gone.
Everything that you won before that means nothing.
Now, before we go any further, you gonna rap? I'm going to rap with you, brother. Let's put it on.
All right.
Right here in the middle. Right here.
Oh, Lord. All right.
Go ahead. Let's do it.
Let's see what we got here. Talk about my babies.
That's it.
Shout out to Crescenda, Taquasia in Brooklyn. Okay. Listen up. Look, I left my benchmark when I sent the spark through the womb, then boom on the 10th of March, 91, sun rose on my tiny one, little baby princess, and I knew I've been blessed. Same eyes, same mouth, same nose and hair. We even got the same hole in our ear. Both born in Brookdale, Brownsville, where the crooks prevail. It seemed very likely she'd be just like me, but I'm making sure the sun rise on mine. What's a dad like? Never lay eyes on mine. Looking for some guidelines, cause this job ain't easy. Please believe me when I tell you this job ain't easy. A lot of decisions, most based only on intuitions. So when you hear that voice, your best choice is to listen. I was born in prison, so I made it my mission to shine and glisten, so we can have this life I envision. Green days, 2 young seeds gotta get raised in a shiesty society, chock full of waste and full of freaks and perverts and fake ass players. You could stop with it all, dog. I did it all. My baby girl's gonna be focused. They ain't gonna be at a disadvantage when your situation is hopeless. I notice we all ostracize these chickens. It's gold diggings, Ganavins, it's in all of our songs. But when they was babies, they was little angels, nothing wrong. How they go from that to living their life like porn? This message is to the strong, you've been warned. God gotta give your daughter your powers, or she gonna be weak. She gonna look for that daddy figure, find it in the street. You know what happened after that, her mind in the street. But you can't hide the truth or she be blind to the street. Yours and mine is the reason why I rhyme to these beats. I can build with whoever, stand still and deal with whoever. One chance, give me one dance. It's time to be a man, so I'm pulling up my pants and I'm stepping to the light. Put my life in your hand. 336 Blake Ave, Mother Gaston. Even through the clash and the love is everlasting. I'm sorry for the absence, genetics like cloud. My brothers, the time is now. One chance.
One chance.
One chance. All I need is one chance. You know, so that's something I wrote when my
nice.
daughter was born.
That's nice. So one chance. Wrote these lyrics when her daughter was born. Beautiful lyrics, positive lyrics. That's the stuff that we should be working on. It's okay with the other stuff, but remember, each artist writes based on his or her experience and what the focus is. So a lyric like this, it's positive. There is some lyrics that are not as positive, but they're all based on experience. They're all based on how I lived my life, and don't take things out of context. Don't think that rap makes you commit crime. Just in the same way that a World War documentary on Netflix does not make you go out there and start a war. So it is what it is. Stay tuned for Yonkers' voice.
Love Scarface, never shot nobody.
That's it, guys. I love Scarface. Thank you, bro. Thank you.
All right, man.
Good thing, good work. So guys, if you are an artist, if you have something to say, if you want a platform where you can speak, where you can show what you do, please contact us. yv.support@yonkersvoice.com. Stay tuned for more.
Bubup.
Bubup.
Good stuff.